Shocking development on Capitol Hill today. Instead of the Democrats, it is a rare cave-in by the Republicans. Oftentimes, of course, when we're talking about the ceiling caving in, it is the Democrats that are folding up shop. But in this case, it is the Republicans, and it's literally on the debt ceiling issue. Now, President Obama said, I'm not going to negotiate over that. The debt ceiling was coming up. And the Republicans said, oh, yes, you will. And then today they were like, yeah, never mind. We changed our minds. We won't negotiate over it. In fact, they said, all right, we'll continue to fund all this. And remember, they already spent the money. This is just lifting the debt ceiling so that we can pay the money that Congress has already spent, right? And they said, all right, look, fine, we'll put that off till May 18th. So that's interesting, May 18th. So does that mean that they're not going to have a fight here over government funding or budgets, et cetera? No. Here, let me show you the calendar, okay? May 18th is when they're going to issue the, and talk about the debt ceiling again. But there's a couple of things that happened before that. For example, on April 15th, they're going to talk about the budget. That is when they need to hand it in. And now, as part of this bill that the Republicans voted on, if they don't pass the budget by then, they're not going to get paid, which is nonsense. They're just going to delay their payment till later. It's just a political gimmick, right? And then also, there's March 1st. And what happens there? The sequester does. And that is the cuts that are set to occur on the defense budget and also social spending. So basically, what the Republicans are doing are they're moving the debt ceiling fight to after those other fights. Now, why are they doing that? Now, there's a whole host of reasons given in different reports. In fact, let me read through them, show you what nonsense they are, and then I'll tell you the real reason. Chris Cillizza writes at the Washington Post, this is a strategic gambit designed to maximize their leverage on several major budgetary fights between now and then regarding the Republicans. But that makes no sense whatsoever, because what's strategic about delaying the fight between now and March 1st? What are they going to do, gain leverage? They're already deeply unpopular. The president is at over 55% unpopularity. House Republicans are at 24%. What are they going to do, make up a 30-point gap in 1 month? No, that's not why they did it. All right, continuing. They say, well, there's another theory. A prominent Republican consultant told Cillizza, the Republicans have to do a better job of picking our fights, so we need more concern about the impact of Obama's reckless spending before we fight with a guy who controls the bully pulpit. Nonsense. The president always controls the bully pulpit. He controls it now. He'll control it then. And what are you going to do? Again, gain leverage in a month? You're going to somehow fight back and somehow be in a much better position? No, that's not what this is about. I'm about to tell you in a second. Another senior House Republican aide says, quote, in the sequestration fight, we have greater leverage because current law is on our side. Wrong again, Bob. The Republicans desperately don't want what they call the sequester to happen because it cuts $1.2 billion from the military. And they are all on record as saying they do not want that to happen under any circumstance. They don't have any leverage there. The law is not on their side. They're just pretending. They're faking it. One last one. By Washington Post again, Cillizza says, by postponing a potential debt ceiling showdown and instead making their stand on the sequester, and to a lesser extent the continuing resolution that must be passed to fund the federal government, that's the one on April 15th, the Republican-controlled House pits itself against a less popular political entity, the Senate. Nonsense! Nonsense! You think that when they get to a budget fight, whether it's on March 1st or April 15th, the whole country will be like, oh, I see. This is the Boehner and the Republicans versus the Democratic Senate. Obama's out of this fight. Of course not. They're going to say it's Obama versus Boehner, Obama versus the Republicans. So why are they lying about all these different reasons? Why are they inventing all these reasons? Because they don't want to tell you the real reason. The real reason is because the debt ceiling involves the bond markets. So that's paying back the money that we borrowed. Who did we borrow it from? Well, many different places. The American people, China, but also Wall Street. And what Wall Street and corporate America just told the Republicans is, shut up. You are not having a debt ceiling fight. That's why Obama was such a tough guy on it, because he had already talked to the corporate leaders when they came to the White House, and they said, don't worry, we'll take care of those Republicans. They work for us anyway. And that's exactly what happened. The Republicans came in and said, the debt ceiling, I mean, we don't want to fight over this. The bond market would be super angry. But later, if they shut down the government in one of those other fights, well, who cares? Well, then, you know what? You can't make Social Security payments. You close down the parks. You can't make payments to our troops. Well, Wall Street doesn't give a damn about that. They're like, yeah, go fight on those grounds. But you're going to pay me, okay? Of course. In fact, look at TV. They already told us this. Look at all these different Republicans and conventional wisdom business people like Maria Bartiromo, who, of course, represents the business community on CNBC, saying the same thing. Watch.
Do you believe the GOP should be using the debt ceiling as a leverage point to get the president to agree to the cuts?
I think that would be a grave mistake. I don't think that would solve anything.
I don't think we should pick fights where we're in a position that we can't, in fact, in the end, enforce our will, because we have no evidence that Barack Obama is going to compromise.
So Bartiromo egging them on. You're not going to fight over the debt ceiling, are you? I got Wall Street behind me telling me don't pick that fight. No, we won't. Even Gingrich, no, not the debt ceiling, not the debt ceiling. We'll have a death match later on other stuff, but not the debt ceiling. In fact, Club for Growth, that's the most conservative organization. Those are the guys who out other moderate Republicans. They do primary runs against them, etc. Interesting. Look at this. The Club for Growth will, on the other hand, strongly oppose any efforts during the upcoming debate over the continuing resolution to sequester that failed to arrest out-of-control spending. This is part of their statement saying, you can go ahead and vote to lift the debt ceiling. We won't score that against you. And that's the cue. That's the memo that is sent out to Republicans. Hey, we just talked to our bosses. They say don't fight on the debt ceiling. Fight on the other two things that we just mentioned. We'll score those so they go on your conservative report card. We won't score the debt ceiling one. Why not? Because they all work for the bond market and Wall Street. This is all a scam on us. And by the way, do the Democrats agree? Oh, hell yeah. Jay Carney for the White House says, we support the extension of the debt ceiling without drama or delay. In other words, we know who we all work for. So next time around when we have a food fight, it'll be over American citizens and who gets paid and doesn't get paid among them. It won't be about who gets paid and doesn't get paid for bondholders who are actually on Wall Street.